Hello, JKs, and welcome to your math lesson for today. Let's start with our daily warm-up. Now, for your warm-up, I am going to take you to my absolute favorite site on the internet at the moment. It's one I mentioned yesterday, but I want to re-emphasize to you, JK parents, how amazing this resource is and how much I suggest it for home learning. So it's called Top Marks. I've been using it mainly for math, so you can type in Top Marks Math. They also have an English section and phonics, but we'll get into that some other day. So it's your first result on Google right there, and you're in. Now, once you get to the website, it's helpful to filter down to your age group right away. So we will select a 3 to 5 years division. There you go. Now it's going to ask you to choose a category. So there's counting, ordering and sequencing, measures, money, shape, position, and movement, and data handling. For today, we're going to stick to counting, but we'll be playing games from all of these categories as the year unfolds. So if you go down, today we're going to be working with the resource called 10-Frame Modeler. Another great thing about this website, not only are the games colorful and interactive and nice to look at for the kids, but also they are totally free and awesome. Great website. All right, so we are at the 10-frame activity. You can make that big on your screen. And this is what you should see. So the reason why this would be a great thing to practice at home with your child on a regular basis is because your child is used to seeing 10 frames at school. It's part of our morning warm-up routine in math. And with 10 frames, we practice representing numbers. For example, this is the number 2. And we practice reading numbers on a 10 frame. So if I saw this, I would count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is representing 4. The more your child gets used to seeing those dots in the 10 frame, the quicker they'll be at subitizing numbers. Subitizing is when you can look at a number and your brain quickly counts it for you. So automatically you would know, oh yeah, this is number 4. This is what number 4 looks like. So how you play is you have these 3 colors at the bottom. You can mix and match them. So if you want to represent the number 2, maybe you'll put 1 green and 1 red. To clear the 10 frame, you press the clear button at the bottom here. And to put these dots on, just remember to press down, click, and then drag. Okay, so you have the 10 frame option here. And on the bottom right, you also have the option of doing a 20 frame. So 2 10 frames, vertical or horizontal. I recommend you practicing numbers all the way up to 20 since we are experts on those numbers. So let's do a quick example. I am going to put a number up. I'm going to represent a number. I'm going to do a pattern. Red, green, red, green, red. JKs, can you look at this number and tell me what number is being represented? I'll give you 5 seconds. Count them out. You're right. It is number 5. What about this one? Five seconds to count it out. That's right. It is 7. Great job. Let's do a trickier one. We'll do one on our 2 10 frames, which goes all the way up to 20. All right. Let's see what number I will put for my JKs. All right, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to count this one out, and then I'm going to come back and tell you the answer. A few more seconds. Let's say 5 more seconds. 5. The number represented on these two 10 frames is the number 12. Did you get it right? Great job, guys. I'll clear that and close that for now. But I do invite you to spend a little bit of extra time on your warm-up this morning, just fooling around with that resource. It is a great resource to help your child subitize and become familiar with 10 and 20 frames. All right, if you've already paused this video and taken some time to do that, let's move on to our lesson of the day. So, as I mentioned earlier, today we are doing a new topic called decomposing numbers. It's actually one of my favorite topics within addition, and I'll show you how to do it now. So I'm going to start off by representing a number. Let me think of a number. Okay, I'll pick 4. So let me draw out 4 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the word decomposing means breaking down. So to decompose this number, I gotta break it down. I gotta separate it into parts. For this activity, I'm gonna pretend that my marker is not a marker, but it's an axe. An axe is what we use to cut down trees and other big things. So I'm gonna take my axe, and I'm gonna chop this number into 2 parts. Ready? Chop. Now, I still have 4, but now it's in 2 parts. Let's figure out how many dots are in my first part. Let's count. 1. I'll write down the number 1. In my second part, I have 1, 2, 3. 3. That means that if I take 1 and put it with 3, it makes 4. The 4 doesn't change, it's just been sliced up differently. Let's see if we can break 4 up into different parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to chop it somewhere different. Chop. Now I still have 4, but now they've been decomposed into 2 parts. In my first part, I have 1, 2. And in my second part, I have 1, 2. Wow. So the number 4 stayed the same, but it's just been broken up differently. Let's see if we can do it one more way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me chop it somewhere differently. Chop. Let's count how many dots are in our first part. 1, 2, 3. And in the second part, 1. Now, even though I broke the 4 up differently in my first example and second example, did the number really change? No, it didn't. 4 is still 4. Both examples are showing you that the whole number, the whole number is 4. It's just been chopped at a different spot. So the 2 groups are different for both examples. Now we're going to move on to your math activity sheet for today. And I'm going to help you through the first problem to give you a few more examples of how to decompose numbers. Let me share my screen again. All right, so this is today's lesson. If you don't already have it in front of you, take a second to pause this video and get the sheet in front of you. Great, welcome back. I hope you're all looking at the sheet that I'm looking at right now as well, and we are going to start decomposing together. So on the first page, it says, draw a picture that shows one way to make 9. All right, so for this, we are going to start off by drawing the 9. Just like we did for the number 4, we started off by drawing the 4. So let's do 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, when they're asking us to show one way to make 9, it means that we have to separate it into 2 different groups. And to do that, we have to get our axes out, chomp, chomp, chomp. So now you're going to pretend that your pencil, or I'll pretend that my marker, is a big axe, and I'm going to chop this number into 2 groups. I'm going to chop it here, chop. Now I have 2 groups. And when I put these 2 groups together, that's one way of making 9. Let's count how many dots are in my first group. 1, 2. That's 2. Now let's count how many dots are in my second group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. I found one way to break up 9 by breaking it up into 2 groups, 2 and 7. Now, this next question asks you to write the equation that matches your pictures. And the work is already done because I've labeled. So one way of making 9 is 2 plus 7. Awesome. Now, the next question, oops, let me clear that. The next question here is saying, draw a picture that shows a different way to make 9. Easy peasy puddin' and pie. Let's do it. So same as before, I'm going to draw my 9, pardon me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now I'm going to take out my chop, 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 my big axe, and I'm going to chop it somewhere different. Chop! Let's see what my 2 groups are this time. In my first group, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And I'm going to label it. A good mathematician always labels her work. And in the second group, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Girls, we found another way of making 9. If I take 5 and add it with 4, those 2 groups, when you put them together, they make 9. So once again, it's asking you to write down your equation. The work is already done for you. 5 plus 4 will give you 9. Great stuff, girls. The next problem is asking you to do the similar thing, except for this page, it's asking you to draw 2 ways of making number 8. And on this page, it's asking you for 2 different ways to make the number 7. Oh, and sorry, I need one more page. The last page is asking for 2 different ways to make the number 10. And finally, we'll end off today's activity with some math review. So at this point, I would ask you to pause your video and finish the first part, which is decomposing these numbers. And then when you finish that, you can move on to your math review of the day, which is basically practicing your counting. Remember, a good mathematician crosses out as she goes. So when you're counting these starfish and counting these birds, make sure you're crossing out using a pencil. After that, you'll write out the numbers 0 to 10. 0 was already written for you. And then finally, just to test your knowledge, they're going to ask you to draw a picture that shows one way to make 5. Okay? That is your math lesson for today, girls. I hope you have fun decomposing numbers, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.